Welcome to Fear Coded, a podcast where we talk about media from the horror genre and take a queer reading of a single book, video game, film, podcast, or TV show to explore just how queer horror can be. Roll for initiative because we're getting into our second installment of Back to Ghoul month, where we focus on horror media set in and around school. This time, we'll be talking about episode 1 of the Netflix series Stranger Things, The Vanishing of Will Byers. I'm David.
I'm Marilee.
And I'm Tyler.
And of course, we want to thank all the bats at our belfry for being part of our amazing community by supporting our Fear Coded Patreon. Thank you to Chris, Kaya, John, Maureen, Derek, Tyler, Puckish Rogue, Blake, Alyssa, Jacob, Doug, Knight of Cups, and Will. Now, before we take a trip to the Mirkwood, I want to check in with my co-hosts to see how things are going for them. In a landscape of horrors that our real world has to offer, what is making y'all scared, or what is making you feel prepared?
Gain, I am feeling prepared this week.
You are prepared.
I'm prayed. I'm hashtag
Yeah,
blessed.
I fucked that up.
It's them
I missed a
peas.
syllable.
I love this energy we brought to the space.
Yeah, Tyler, what's either brought you prepared or prayered?
I'm prayers up for the X-Men.
For the X-Men.
Yes. So I was talking with some friends and I got some recommendations for X-Men comic series to get into because I've really wanted to get into reading comic books. It helps me like get geared up, like kind of revving the engine to read like books and longer books and stuff. But I wanted to experience the queer joy that is the X-Men. So I got some recommendations, and thankfully, and this is where the prayers comes in, my library has the X-Men comics that I was looking for.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's
Yes.
amazing. That's excellent. Do they
Yes.
wait now? Are they in like comic book form?
They're like
Or
in
are they in,
anthologies.
Okay,
I think.
anthology. Okay. It feels for some reason to me, and I think this is wrong, but it feels appropriate to get an anthology from the library. It feels strange to me to get like an individual comic book issue, but I think that's wrong. I think you could get an individual comic book issue from a library.
I mean, you probably could, especially digitally, but I do think that most libraries have a lot of like trade paperbacks, like collections of a bunch of different comics.
That seems to jive more with how I think about a library, which is a place with books. Because anthologies are books, and a single issue that's like a periodical. Even though I know there's an entire section called periodicals. It's the periodical section.
So true,
They
David.
do have those.
They do.
That is absolutely true.
They're next to the Zoop Zoop machine.
What?
The microfiche, in my mind, it goes Zoop Zoop when you use it. Zoop,
Okay,
zoop.
got it. Yeah.
Did it go
So very-
zoop zoop in Night in the Woods?
It did not, but and it doesn't when Scully does it either. I don't know why. I think, but I call it the Zoop Zoop machine in my head.
Perhaps, yeah, in the David world. I would rather
Yeah.
live in a world where objects are named after the sounds they make, like the zoop zoop machine.
The Zoop Zoop machine. Of course, I've literally used a microfiche to do research in college, and it made no noise whatsoever.
This is so funny because like we've talked about microfiche before. I believe it's our firm opinion on this podcast that if you look through microfiche to research things, you're queer. So
Yeah.
it's insane that at this length, you know, we've been doing the podcast for a couple of years now. We're still learning secret David lore about what this whole time it's been living in your head called.
Yes, I believe that 2 years after I did that project, it was all digitized.
Well,
Wow.
I bet they wish they had the microfiche now.
Yeah. Then
So
the
I'm-
Zoop Zoop became recreational. You just sat
Yeah.
there and you zooped for fun.
Ugh.
I love a good zooping.
We love to. No. Anyway, I'm really excited to read the X-Men.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for you to read the X-Men. Wait, Tyler, do you have any X-Men comic reading experience that's in there? Or are you really starting from the beginning?
I'm starting from scratch, everybody.
Okay,
I
so what are you reading? What have you been recommended?
I got the Dark Phoenix Saga.
Okay.
Nice.
I got Inferno,
Mhm.
and I got another one that I don't remember.
Okay.
the name
Well,
of.
hopefully you'll enjoy. Do you going in? Do you have any expectations like this character is going to be your favorite or?
Well, Dark
Um,
Phoenix, I'm going to be rooting for Jean Grey the whole time.
Right.
Obviously, yes.
Yes.
She can do no wrong, even with all the wrongs that she does.
Okay.
Listen, even the
Well,
war crimes.
actually, no. I have seen X-Men '97, at least season 1. She's done some things.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna retroactively just say, like, Jean Grey.
Listen, I support
problematic
women's
fave.
wrongs.
Yeah, we support women's wrongs. If she's not doing something problematic, she's probably like passing out on the couch. So
we love that.
Yeah.
We love that.
On the record, pro fainting couch.
Fainting couch for sure. That is a very queer thing. And really, the thing I am most looking forward to is the latent queerness of the X-Men coming through. I don't know how queer these particular like issues are, but you know, it's the X-Men.
We're gonna get there.
Yeah, there's a joke in the notes here about X-Men and being gay. So
yeah,
get ready.
Feels like a base coat. All I know is that nothing moves the Blob from my heart.
Yeah, if I had to guess who would be your favorite X-Men, I wouldn't have said Blob, but I know that that's on me because of course it is.
Nothing moves the Blob from my heart.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm very excited. Tyler, when I had whatever free subscription came with whatever I had, where I got to read all of the back issues of Marvel, I decided to go back to the beginning of the X-Men. And that... you getting recommendations is such a better decision than going back to the first issue, which was a tiny bit racist.
Oh no!
But just like the world was a little bit racist, and those comics were being written in the world,
which is another thing that we will be talking about in this episode.
That's right.
Very topical.
Very topical. Well, Marilee, I gotta know: are you feeling scared or prepared today?
I am also feeling prepared because I'm reading something.
Wow.
You're both
We're such
prepared
readers here on Fear
from
Coded.
Literacy. Wow.
Yeah. Well, again, so you did the good thing and got it from the library. My library didn't have the books that I wanted in an audiobook format, so I did buy them from certain evil mega corporations that have the only easily accessible audiobooks that you can buy.
You did your due diligence trying to go to the library first.
I did. Anyway, in breaking news, I am going to recommend yet another highly popular sci-fi book series, but I've been reading the Murderbot Diaries, and they're so good.
I've heard that about them.
Yeah, no, Martha Wells has written an incredible series of books, and everybody, if you've ever heard somebody talking about Murderbot, you probably have heard, oh, these books are great.
Yeah.
Here to add to that choir, they really are.
I do think that whoever at Apple TV is reading to pick things that they adapt into series has really good taste, because it seems like all smashes on the original work, and maybe the series is hit or miss. But
I'm going to be honest, I completely forgot there was an Apple TV show.
Yeah, well, but someone is reading. Someone there is reading, I will tell you, because they love to pick these things up for adaptation.
They do.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to one very soon. Neuromancer, one of my favorite books that's getting adapted into a mini series.
Okay.
So that's exciting.
Yeah.
What's Neuromancer about?
Oh boy, I don't know if we have time for that, Marilee. It's like a whole thing.
Got it. Well,
I'll just say it's like basically it's kind of like the originator of the cyberpunk genre. William Gibson kind of came up with the whole idea of like the web and cyberspace and interacting over the internet. And that's where we get the line like the sky was the color of a television turned to a dead channel to describe like gray, but then now that kind of means something else as time progresses, what a dead channel looks like. So.
Oh yeah, that's neat.
Okay. Okay.
Highly recommend that one. That's a good.
Yeah.
That's where my Blue Sky
of...
handle is. That's where my Blue Sky handle comes from. Is Neuromancer.
Oh, call up the dead. I just thought you were
very like, cool and poetic. Yeah.
Well, I like the saying goes, great Blue Sky account users steal.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody does say that.
Lincoln said that, right? That was Marilee, are there a lot of these books? Are you in for like a treat?
So there are like 8 of them, and I am on the 7th book, and it has been
Marilee.
like 2 weeks. But in my defense, most of them are actually pretty short.
Okay.
I will say, if you are starting to read the series, books 5 and There's something that needs to be switched. I don't know why they did this. This order drove me crazy. But let me actually give you the right information, because as I was reading it, I was like, I guess this book is I thought that they were going to go this thing, but I guess we went back to this other place. But yeah, Fugitive Telemetry you should read before Network Effects. So it should be Fugitive Telemetry, which is book 6, then Network Effect, which is book 5, and then System Collapse, which is the one that I'm on, which is book 7.
Okay.
Which is a lot of words that you do not understand, but that's okay.
That's truly the case. That is truly the case. But there were numbers in there, and it sounded like a 6-5-7 situation.
That is correct.
Why was 6 afraid of 5?
Because of
6,
7.
7.
Oh, 6, 7.
Well, goodbye. This podcast is over. Actually, I have to leave immediately.
Tyler and I are doing the thing.
We're doing it.
That's
how you know the trend is dead.
Every recording makes me feel like video podcasting, which I kind of despise, even though I'm on a video podcast. I want people to watch Tyler and I doing the 6-7 thing, but I want nothing else on video.
I'm so glad our podcast isn't a video podcast, because this suffering is for me only, and I do appreciate that.
But Marilee, think of the epic eye roll gif that you could have made just then organically because of watching Tyler and I do 6-7.
I don't want that.
Is it called doing 6-7? Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
I think asking this question is just putting dirt onto the coffin.
Yeah.
Please? Anyway, Murderbot's great, and I love it very much.
Excellent. Incredible, Marilee.
Yeah. I'm so glad that went so many wild places. David, take us out of here.
Yeah, so David, take us out of here. I come also prepared today. I'm prepared.
Oh my god!
Wow.
It's a triple whammy in
It's
like
a trifecta.
all year.
But there's a hint of scared at the end of it. I'm prepared because I'm about to go on a little vacation, which is nice, kind of a relaxing voyage, and I'm going to go to one of the places that I have been excited to go to, even though it's one of the places that I have to be a little bit careful going to, but I'm going to Istanbul.
Oh.
Not Constantinople.
Well, it was Constantinople, you understand, Tyler. And now it's Istanbul. That's nobody's business but the Turks, if you would.
I was about to say, why did Constantinople get the works?
So I'm excited to go. I am, of course, excited to see the Hagia Sophia, even though it is under, apparently devastatingly obstructive repairs.
Oh no.
Oh.
So while I will be able to go to it and be like, this is a world wonder that you can build in Civilization 6, I will also be able to see, according to reviews of the construction right now, maybe 5% can be viewed of internal and external parts of the Hagia Sophia.
Wow.
Well, hey, that's 5% more than either Tyler and I have seen.
And frankly, it's going to have to be enough because I don't think I'm going back. I don't know that I'm going to take multiple trips to Istanbul in my life. So I'm really trying to suck it up, get it all in here. We are going to go to the market and look at spices. I will not be purchasing any of them because
Why? Would your English friends get hives if you thought about spices too hard around them?
No, I just, we're in a global market. I can get them down the street. I feel terrible saying these words, but globalism has some perks, and it's the fact that I don't need to send a convoy to go get me a niece. It's readily available at the market. So, all right, the supermarket, not even the spice market of Istanbul. I'm very, very excited about it. I am, though, dreading because at the end of the vacation, I have to go to the United States.
No. Boo.
Yeah, boo. Boo, hiss, tomato.
Yeah.
And it only gets worse every day because somebody from my State Department, apparently, because I still pay U.S. taxes, somebody from the State Department will be like, we're making it even harder for people to come into the country. And I'm like, no, you fools. Let me come back and sneak in and sneak out. That's all I want. I want Arby's, and then I want to go back home.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now I want Arby's.
They've got the meat.
Yeah.
Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you want till it's gone?
Listen, you know what you can do when you're here? You can get a fuck off sized beverage, which I really think is the most American thing you could do. A giant beverage really is our cultural imprint, and I love that for all of us.
That is true.
Don't eat our bag salad though.
No. I will not be doing that. I mentioned this on our Patreon episode, but we accidentally made a salad joke on our Alien episode. It happened to be very timely, which we did not mean to do.
Nope.
But, that guy was eating salad and then an alien burst out of him. So, it was on you, my man.
Yeah.
It will be nice to see some people. I sadly don't get to see any of my Glitterjaw friends this trip. But I will be in the United States. I will drink large beverages.
Good.
I will eat carcinogenic foods that are unavailable to me here.
With red dye number 40?
Man, I'm just going to inject that stuff right in the veins, Marilee.
I love that.
It'll look the same because they're both red.
Is that how you get red blood? We must simply move on because today, no blood in today's episode because today we are talking about Stranger Things, specifically the pilot episode titled The Vanishing of Will Byers. This episode was written and directed by Matt and Ross Duffer, known professionally as the Duffer Brothers. What a strange sentence. Known professionally as the Duffer Brothers. The Duffers also served as the series showrunners.
It is strange because it would just be like in school. It's like those Duffer Brothers.
I know. It sounds like I'm in a Hardy Boys novel. Like, oh, the Duffer Brothers are up to trouble again. They're filming a pilot.
David is now doing a hand crank camera because once again, in Fear Coded lore, cameras have never evolved beyond a hand crank.
This is how Martin Scorsese does all his work.
All of them. From Alfred Hitchcock to Steven Spielberg to the guy who directed Barbarian.
Water up my nose there, Tyler.
Sorry about that. Listeners, this was an evening recording, and we always get a little zoomy during the evening
assume
recordings.
Everyone understands that evening records are unhinged.
Yeah.
What an energy we brought into the space today.
It's like how there's the actual lore heavy episodes of the X-Files, and then there's a Monster of the Week. There's the really deeply analytical episodes of Fear Coded, and then the loosey-goosey episodes.
Oh yeah, we're having fun.
We're in Texas. We're doing a Rashomon, folks.
Oh, we are. This is a Rashomon episode. That's not how I remember Fear Coded.
Hey guys, Stranger Things. For those not in the know about this show called Stranger Things, which recently finished its final season, it was a colossally successful streaming series on Netflix. The series was inspired by the crisis of a parent with a missing child, but combined with the threat of a monster preying on humans. Other major influences were 1980s culture and popular media like Stephen King novels and the films of Steven Spielberg, John Carpenter, and more.
But before Stranger Things became a pop culture hit, it started with a pilot focused on the missing case of a young boy named Will and a girl with a mysterious past. What's everyone's experience with Stranger Things?
I think I was a pretty early watcher of the show, but to be honest with you, 2016 was so long ago.
It was a whole lifetime away.
This series dragged for a
whole
long
generation, a whole cultural shift.
But I think I was an early watcher. I think that this was a big at the whatever version of a water cooler I was living with in that time. I think this was a pretty big talked about show, and everybody was sort of into it. Did either of you remember? Did this drop all at once too?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this was definitely a set of house keys in the side of the can and just taking it as fast as you could get it down. I think that this is maybe one of those things that I feel like worked a couple times for streamers like Netflix, but in the end really sort of suffers because then things don't linger as long as they need to. But Stranger Things I felt like had a shelf life.
Yeah. Stranger Things, especially the first season, really was like lightning in a bottle, because it managed to catch everybody's attention and keep it. Because I remember we were really excited about season 2. Then they started doing things like dropping half of the show at a time and the wait between seasons and just all of the nonsense.
Yeah.
I remember being really jazzed about the first season and hoping people would watch because Netflix at the time, and I don't know if they do still, wouldn't release their viewership numbers. They only later on, much later, revealed like, oh yeah, based off of like how many people watch the next episode, and then the next episode is like what they base their metrics off of. But the show performed really well on that metric. So lightning in a bottle was exactly how I described it to Marshall yesterday, merrily. It just felt like it was something that people were starting to murmur about. It was a water cooler type thing, and then it was like, oh man, but what about this thing, and then this thing, and like, oh man, I can't wait to see what happens next. So many mysteries. When is the soundtrack coming out? Because Netflix hadn't released any music for the show yet, and the music was like huge. Like it ignited a whole synthwave thing for most of the 2010s, or like the remainder of the 2010s, I guess. But I loved it. I remember watching the first season just thinking, holy shit, this is amazing.
Yeah.
It was like, it felt like how J.J. Abrams does Steven Spielberg pastiche, but it was like executed much better because it had like some grounding from like, it's a little Stephen King and it's a little bit of this and it's a little bit of that. So it was like a really fun remix of a thing, and people were comparing it to the original Star Wars because the original Star Wars was also a remix of different things, and both of them blew up. And it was after the first season. I just remember seeing an article someone had written talking about how Stranger Things is kind of the Star Wars for Gen Z because it became like this huge thing that they could grow up with. I don't know how much that has panned out because I didn't watch the last season, but I heard mixed things.
You heard any good things? That's insane.
I thought the last season was fine. Like
Okay.
I didn't think it was bad. I think it got a lot of bad rap out there. And what I would say about pretty much all media is that before letting other people's opinions be the final word on things, you should just watch it. I mean, it was fine. It was fine.
That's fair. I respect that. Yeah. I definitely watched it early. I remember I saw it must have been like a listicle or something or other because I saw that Winona Ryder was going to be in this show called Stranger Things. I remember like reading a plot summary and thinking, oh, that's going to be really good. And then I saw the trailer and I was like, oh shit, all right, let's go. This is going to be great. And I got very excited about it. I watched it like the first weekend it came out because this was a show I was excited about, and I used to be a really huge fan. That didn't stay. I think every season, well, not every season. I did the last couple seasons really lost me, and I never got around to watching the final season. I said in the notes here that I have no desire to watch the final season, but David kind of has convinced me immediately because it's a fair point. But I have to say it was really fun to walk down memory lane and revisit the show in this earliest season. It's so nice when things are good.
Yeah, like isolated. This one episode is very good television.
It's a good pilot. It's a good pilot too.
Yeah,
it's a very good pilot.
Lot of good character building. Not a lot of center points of antagonism. So it's not coming anywhere near as close as good as the Glee pilot is, which I will maintain is perhaps one of the greatest pilots ever filmed for a series that ended up not living up to it.
No, it did. I also think the X-Files has a bangarang pilot.
Pretty good pilot.
Lost for me is the best pilot.
Lost has a great
that's
pilot.
a good one.
Lost has a great pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was really good.
If Lost had a better pilot, they wouldn't have landed on that damn island.
Hey, that is Greg Grunberg. There was the pilot on that.
Oh my god, that's my boyfriend, Greg.
Yeah, how dare you throw shade at your boyfriend, Greg Grunberg?
J.J. Abrams was like, I have to give my best friend a role. I'll make him be this dying pilot.
J.J. Abrams, come on the podcast and answer for your crimes.
J.J. Abrams, come on the podcast and we will do a video episode because I assume that if we turn the camera on J.J. Abrams, it's just lens flare the whole time. It's not even an effect. It's just wherever he goes.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Yeah.
They don't add that in post. They just use J.J.
No, send Mulder and Scully to this guy's house because there's something going on.
So true. Well, there's something going on in Hawkins, Indiana as well, which leads us into our first part of our themes, our very first theme of today's episode, which is small town charm. Hawkins, Indiana is a classic Midwestern small town. Nerds play Dungeons & Dragons in their parents' basement. Bullies pick on the nerds. Everyone's hair is 80s big. Will Byers, however, is singled out by the show. He's the quiet party wizard who nevertheless casts fireball over the protection spell. He loves the X-Men. And his mom says that his father called Will queer, which Joyce doesn't deny is the truth. Joyce, I'm just going to say it, girl. We could have told you that when you found out that he reads the X-Men.
That made me laugh so hard when I was reading the notes, Tyler.
Absolutely.
Well, Will is a sensitive kid and a tough time to be a kid. There is a lot of freedom to this kind of youth, going out, being a latchkey kid. But homophobia was, and of course is, still a common problem. But even today's homophobia does not hold a candle to the really institutionalized, socialized homophobia that was common in the 80s when the show is set. And so kids like Will were often ostracized for it. What did we think of the whole vibe of Hawkins and this time period?
I think that this is one of the standouts of the first season in particular. And I think when you lose this, you actually start to lose a little bit of what makes the show feel good, which is how fucking 80s this is and what great set design Hawkins is.
Yeah.
The schools look incredible. The cars look great. This sad American dream house that who's the other kid? Not Will. God, I don't.
Mike.
Mike and his family. We're spending the most time in their house. This house is this. By the time the three of us would have been able to buy this house, this would have been. This is a fucking fixer-upper house now, because this was like mass constructed. It's good, but it's not great. They got so much of that so right. It feels so good. It feels so good in this world.
Yeah, that was part of what was so fucking incredible about the show going into it, was like, this is a slice of a time and place, and we have really captured it there.
Yeah.
But it also comes with the warts of the time period, which has to do with things like homophobia, like the kind of casual racism that the bullies show to Lucas, and the ableism, and like bullying was normalized. And like really in the 90s is when I feel like teachers and schools and everything started to take bullying more seriously, especially when Columbine happened. But in the 80s it was just like, well, toughen up, and that's not okay, obviously, but that was the culture. And I think the show does a good job of showing that, especially when you have Will, who has very little screen time in this season. Like, this is the most we see of Will for like the whole first season. But you can pick up immediately that this is a sensitive kid. He would have been using a Wells for Boys. And I know by the end of the show, like, Will comes out and stuff, and then it's very like, oh, homophobia, I've never heard of it, which is not great. But at least in this very first episode, it feels kind of more real. And like, I remember when I was watching the show 10 years ago, I remember thinking like, oh, I was just like Will when I was his age. And so like, to me, that makes me more sympathetic, and makes me kind of feel like this is a great representation of the 80s, both the good and the bad parts. Marilee, what about the comic that Will reads?
Oh, yeah. No, I just threw this in there because I didn't realize we were going to spend so much time talking about the X-Men and Up Tops, because I didn't realize you were reading them. But I just wanted to throw it out there in case you were like me. You heard like they were very specifically talking about X-Men 134. So I looked it up. The issue of Uncanny X-Men 134 is actually a deeply iconic issue, and like very queer of Will to be like, I want that one specifically, because this is actually the introduction / reintroduction of Jean Grey / Phoenix as the Black Queen of the Hellfire Club.
Get it.
It's like
what a slay.
Yeah, it's like it's a very iconic costume. It's a very iconic story arc. This is her deep in like the Phoenix times. Like her superhero name is Phoenix at this time, and now she's going to switch it up to be the Black Queen. What's going on with the Phoenix Force and her powers is still developing. It's just like a really great storyline, and I just thought it was neat to point that out.
And it is 40 cents. This comic is 40 cents, Marilee.
Yeah. And it'll be worth a lot more in the future if
Yeah.
Will or Dustin manage to hang on to it.
Lock it
in
down.
good condition.
Lock it down, Will.
Mm-hmm. Well, in addition to X-Men nerddom, there is also the big tabletop RPG in the room. Dungeons and Dragons gets a big jump here. Big boost to popularity. So with this theme, we're going with Dungeons and Dragons and nostalgias. So the game of Dungeons & Dragons was a major fixture of the 80s, being an infamous subject of the Satanic Panic, while also capturing the popular imagination. We're introduced to the endearingly quirky nerds when they're playing the game, which allows D&D to function as a plot device, because we get some references to Will's character and the overall dynamic of the party. They're constantly referring to themselves, even in the real world, as the party. So we get to enjoy D&D that way, but it also indicates, again, a certain time and place, one that conjures up nostalgia for an audience that remembers it. Heck, I used the show to talk to my mom about her life in the 80s. So this proves effective for two reasons. One, it endears us to the show's world and the characters in it. And two, you can commercialize the hell out of the 80s, which Netflix and Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro capitalized on with Dungeons & Dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think one part, and particularly in this pilot, there's a small sore moment, is that this scene of the boys playing D&D shows me that these are actors with emerging talent.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not emerged yet.
No.
Not wonderful yet. But I love the Dungeons and Dragons of the show. I do think you do need to get to a point where you sort of accept that this is how the characters go through their lives in their world, because by season 4 and 5 you're kind of like, okay, you've literally watched a person fold people in half. You don't need to refer to characters of your D&D game anymore. Like, 11's folding people in half. Like, you just gotta sort of accept that, like, you live in a world with magical powers. We no longer need this framing. And they're gonna keep it until the very last episode of this show.
They probably got a deal with like Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast, because they're like, D&D is constantly doing Stranger Things stuff. Whenever there's like a new season, they do like a new box set or a quest or something. And like now with Vecna being the show's main villain, like Vecna is a major character from D&D, and then they started doing Vecna from Stranger Things in D&D, and it was just a whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's just, it takes something that's like really cute, because I liked the D&D of it all, because this was before D&D really exploded and oversaturated everything in nerd pop culture. I thought it was cute. And then you take the thing that's cute and then you just slap it on 10 million lunchboxes and sell it, and now it's not cute anymore.
Yeah. I wonder, should you choose to watch the final season, which ends with I thought it was a very nice homage to Dungeons and Dragons and Gygax's work for the closing scenes and credits, I guess they were. Should you ever get to that, I wonder if you would find that to be schmaltzy. As someone who actually engages with D&D, I found it charming, but I have, I once opened a player handbook.
Well, Gary Gygax can rot in hell, because he's
we're not a
big
fan
racist.
of that. Not a fan
big
of that
racist.
guy.
Okay.
But I still appreciate that, David, because in spite of him being a horrible racist, D&D has helped many people have wonderful lives. So, and hell, I like D&D sometimes.
But
there's so many other games out there. Okay, never mind.
Truly, at one point in time, Mrs. Wheeler is like, I'm in the scene, and I was like, oh, good, the story can continue. Like, let's get these children some adult actors near them. Now it is time for us to ask the two questions that we ask of every media that we consider for the podcast. The first of which is it horror? Were you scared watching this episode of Stranger Things? Or if you have memory of it, the series in general? Does this belong in a conversation about horror media?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some scary shit in this pilot.
Mm-hmm. They
Like-
really are playing in this space with horror tropes in a very fun way. Like, I've never felt like Stranger Things, especially like here in the beginning where we're really just setting things up, has ever revolutionized the wheel. But what they did was they played in the box with using the tools in a really interesting and satisfying way.
Marilee,
Yeah.
that's almost word for word what I was going to say, so that's awesome.
I got genuinely scared at some scenes here in the pilot, but even watching this pilot reminded me of how good Winona Ryder was at the psychological horror of this first season.
Yes.
Which is really watching a mother like # go through it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I was talking to Chels of the Q Division earlier today because and we were talking about how great Winona Ryder is in this show, in this season specifically, and how even though people talked about how great she was here, people don't recognize how great she was throughout the whole show, it seems like. It's including the show in later seasons. They really don't give her a lot to do.
Mhm. Yeah. The show really fucked up when they like didn't really know what to do with Winona Ryder. There were
Yeah.
a couple seasons where she was like bumbling like a goofball, and it was like she started off as a mother going through it.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
Winona Ryder. Like, put respect on that woman's
Give
name.
her something to do. She can do it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Put her on stage for an award show. Like, listen.
That face.
That
Wow.
face. She got it.
She got it.
She got it. But I do think that there's a lot of horror in this. I think look no further than the Burger King promotions here in Europe, because boy, we took that Wednesday Addams burger at Burger King and turned it upside down for the Stranger Things finale.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Well, now I'm scared of this energy that David has brought.
Fast food here loves a hacky like gimmick. We really, really do.
Probably we also do, but I don't know that I've eaten in a Denny's in a decade, so I have no idea.
Denny's
Wendy's.
does love this shit.
Wendy's has been doing a Minions whole thing where you can get a
Incredible.
Minion banana shake, and they have
Wow.
like a little Minion gacha
Oh,
like children's toy that you can get.
fun. I finally watched one of those Minions films.
Why?
What you think?
I believe my Letterboxd review says this is not for me.
Fair enough. Listen,
Very
you know,
fair.
besides capitalism not being for us, and that is the real horror, that we have to live in a world with it, forget about all of that business, because to be on Fear Coded Podcast, you have to be more than scary. You have to be queer. So can we discuss Stranger Things using the lens of queer theory?
Yes. I think, first of all, there are textually queer characters, and I think whether we decide that we're going to read Will Byers as queer this episode based on the dialogue from Joyce or not, we all know that pretty famously Will comes out, and it's a big deal in the Stranger Things universe. And he, got turned into a meme when he did it. And that should happen to more. That should happen to more of us. I'm sorry, Will, that it just you had that haircut, and also I think we've got a group of outsiders. I think they're struggling to fit in. We've got bullies. We've got a queer-coded elder who has arranged for them to get something for their AV club. The AV club may as well be the Gay Straight Alliance, as far as I'm concerned. And there's a general distrust of other authority and the government and all of that, represented by Daddy May I, Matthew Modine. That I think all of that goes into sort of a subtextual queer reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, so true, David. I don't
100%.
even know what else to add. Like, you just kind of hit every wonderful point about this pilot episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Here's
only...
My question is there a queer reading of L11 in this pilot. I think later there's a ton of queer reading of Elle.
Yes, absolutely. In the pilot, I feel like the trauma has shut her character down so much it's really difficult to get a taste of her personality. I will say, however, psychic powers are a pretty queer thing for your character to have, especially as we talked about, like queer little girls, like spooky queer, like not no I what I'm trying to say is especially like the psychicness, I think, powers a queerness in the narrative reading, and I think that is gonna. It's hard to say anything about who Elle is, except for that is something that you can just assign based on the horror tropes.
I will say, when Benny first sees 11, he thinks that 11 is a boy.
That's right.
Because Elle very famously has had her head shaved, so she's only got like some stubble on her hair, and she's like, I don't know, prepubescent-ish, like she's somewhere in the young teen zone. So it's believable to see 11 and think like that could be a boy, that could be a girl, and that kind of gender ambiguity is really fun to like play around with. Especially when it comes to like she's special, she's sought after by the government to be captured and studied. And then she also does have these psychic powers, which feel very queer coded as well. So I think there's absolutely like queer text, like analysis that you could do with 11, especially as the show goes on and she gets like put into like a very girly disguise, but the disguise never really looks right on her. And then like as the show progresses, like 11 dresses kind of tomboyishly. So I think that's all kind of part and parcel.
That's the thing to talk about how 11 dresses, like when we see her in season 2 and the beginning of season 3 specifically, a very tomboy dress style, because the person who's giving her those clothes is her father figure. But the second she gets to go experience freedom with the other female character, 11 chooses to dress in a very different, much more fun, flamboyant way, which interesting.
It's given queerness to me. It's given queerness to me in season 3.
Oh, that romper was very queer.
Oh yeah. Anyway, we haven't.
I have to say, season 3, my least favorite season of Stranger Things, but the costumes were on point. Hopper, on point. In particular.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
We're doing good things.
Yeah. And I guess the one thing we haven't said, which we are contractually obligated to say, is that a found family is a pretty queer thing for people to be doing. So
yeah. And that's sort of a big part of later seasons, is like, we're all together and we can do it together, and you're like, oh my god, I get it, just do it already.
Unfortunately, you have to stand around so that we can spend as much time on the episode count here, so we don't have to pay for giant effects later. So
makes
hey,
sense.
Listen, I'll take people filming in the same location.
Oh my god, that's so real. The show gets so bad.
All right, folks, are you ready to dive into the plot beat by beat of this pilot episode, The Vanishing of Will Byers, from the series Stranger Things?
Let's
do it.
Class is now in session, and today's lesson, how to stop hearing ads just like this one. If you want an ad-free listening experience, you can join the Fear Coded Patreon at patreon.com/fearcodedpodcast. For as little as $1 a month, you get access to early and ad-free episodes on your very own podcast feed, and extra bonus content begins at $3 a month. Now, you're never going to hear us promoting a shady for-profit institution of higher education, but if you would like to skip ads just like this one, you can join the Fear Coded Patreon at patreon.com/fearcodedpodcast and support real human queer artists for as little as $1 a month. Now back in your seats, the lesson is about to resume. All right, it's November 6, 1983. Little David is far from Hawkins, Indiana, but he exists in this world. But all is not right at the Hawkins National Laboratory. A scientist runs away from something only to end up consumed by it. Elsewhere, 4 kids are playing the climax of a 10-hour-long session of Dungeons and Dragons. Will, the party's wizard, struggles with whether to cast Fireball or Protection on the entity called the Demogorgon, and chooses Fireball. When he rolls, his dice fly everywhere. Meanwhile, Dungeon Master Mike is told to wrap up the game. Will confesses later that his role would have missed if they'd been allowed to finish the game, then rides his bike into the night. Will is pursued in the darkness by a dark humanoid shape. He escapes into the family shed, but as the light flickers, he disappears.
Dun dun dun.
Ooh.
Okay, so right away, like, Hawkins looks good. Like, this laboratory looks so good.
Okay, not only does it look good, but I have to say that the sound design, specifically of what they're doing with the Demogorgon, that sounds so good. You immediately know this is a capital C creature that is gonna eat you.
Yeah.
And I think that they just do really great stuff. Like, even before we see what the Demogorgon is, we have such a sense of how powerful and dangerous, and that is all to do with what they make it sound like.
Yep, agreed.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Sound is good.
I think also, like, after the scientist gets eaten and we see the Demogorgon later in this episode, it's just kind of like a dark shape, but it looks kind of like human. So that's automatically triggering so many thoughts of, like, what could this thing be?
Uncanny
Because it's
Valley.
clearly not a human. Yes, exactly. It's the Uncanny Valley. What is this thing that could be a human but is not? And that is really, really scary. Not to mention, like, yeah, absolutely. This, like, the sounds that are used for the Demogorgon, really impressive, really kind of like, I guess has become sort of iconic. Like, if you get into the video game Dead by Daylight, you kind of become an icon. So
There'll become a point when we do see the Demogorgon in full, and I want to say it's a decent character design, but I can hit it with a bat, and I can't hit this with a bat. So I do think that it's a little scarier now when it's like a little bit farther away, humanoid-ish shape with the creepy noise than it will be later. I think it's an effective design later. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just less scared of it when I can see it.
it also seems magical in nature.
Yeah.
Like, it can control electricity somehow. It can move objects with its mind.
And
like,
it gets
freaky
into
stuff.
the shed from behind Will somehow.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And boy, there's like huge amounts of information about that in the last season.
Yeah, I remember in the lead up to that, like, there was a lot of fan theories about as soon as they introduced Vecna as this controlling factor, they're like, okay, but like, how did it do this and that, whatever. And I'm not going to get into it. God.
Here's my thing. Creators, read the internet and then let it wash away from your brain space. Read it and then let it go. Make your art without our input.
Please. I'm literally begging.
Except for literally my input, which you should listen to.
Yeah, well, David's
right
always
now.
right, so.
Hello.
Right. Well, as snacking habits aside.
Yeah. Again, so many horrible food crimes have happened. Sir.
I do want to say the inability to decide whether to protect your friends or to cast a fireball reeks of sort of the executive dysfunction that we all experience as queer people. So Will is gay right here.
100%,
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
I think and then also casting, like, making him be the caster is also a very gay thing to do as well.
oh yeah.
Oh, is wizard sort of a gay thing?
Yes.
I was joking. I knew that was true.
Oh, okay.
You both had so much authority, though. I loved it. I earlier, when we were talking about 11, I was going to ask if her powers were the same as Jean Grey's, but I was worried about inciting Marilee's wrath.
Yes and no.
See?
Jean Grey is a special case, but telekinesis is one of Jean's powers for sure.
And I know she's queer.
Yeah, she is, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not canonically, but like, yes, she is. Thank you.
In vibes alone, for sure. And the drama.
And
but
also,
yes, so
she's in a polyamorous relationship, so queer that way. I don't care what Marvel editorial has to say about it.
Oh, they don't like that. They were against the Archie Veronica Betty situation.
No, they love an Archie Betty Veronica situation. I'm just saying they don't don't believe the truth in their hearts that Jean Grey is in a throuple with Scott Summers and Wolverine.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth, baby.
Wolverine is the Veronica, and Scott Summers is the Betty. Archie is Jean Grey.
Absolutely.
They all take turns at who's who.
Well, like any good polyglot relationship.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know where to go from there.
You know who's not in a poly relationship? Mrs. Wheeler.
No.
Somebody
don't get her out of here. I want a Wheeler for a divorce for Mrs. Wheeler stat.
I don't know what to tell you. Mrs. Wheeler, who goes on to have like a continued role throughout the entire series, is almost always a shining star spotlight. Whenever she's not on screen, the audience should be asking, "Where's Mrs. Wheeler?"
Genuinely, I love her. I think she's such a fun character. And it's a shame that Ted survived the show, I'm pretty sure. Like, get that man dead. I don't understand.
For real. Can't stand Ted.
Yeah. He lives so long he shows up in Lisa Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, true. Mm-hmm. Another deadbeat dad.
Real.
Well, I think we've talked about the D&D part of this kind of a lot already, but I do think, like, the whole thing, I think it's just an interesting plot device. And it's useful to like tell us more about these characters, and you know that it establishes the idea that this group is a party, like they will do anything for each other, which will come to a head later in this episode.
Oh
yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, in the morning, Will's mother Joyce and his brother Jonathan realize that Will is missing. Joyce calls the Wheeler house home to Mike and his sister Nancy. The two fight with one another, illustrating the strained relationship that the siblings have. At the Hawkins Middle School, Mike meets up with his friends and D&D party members, Dustin and Lucas. The trio are picked on by a couple bullies who both demonstrate the kind of schoolyard racism and ableism that was common in the 80s. Mike cheers up his friends, particularly Dustin, who doubts that he could ever be a hero.
It's 8 a.m., Joyce Byers. Do you know where your child is?
She really doesn't. She really, like, what? Like, Joyce is just trying. Joyce is trying.
Oh, no. I thought I would sneak in an extra 80s reference at 8 a.m. instead of 10 p.m., but
it's really Jonathan's fault.
It's nobody's fault, okay? The fact of the matter is that it's frankly Reagan's fault because they don't have money because they're not well off. And so Jonathan is trying to make extra money for the household because he's basically another parent, and it's fine. It's all fine.
Yeah, I like the set design. What a broken record. I like the set design.
Yeah,
I like the set design of the Byers household. I think it's really nice. It communicates their economic status while also being this isolating presence. We learn enough about the Byerses to make me care about all three of these characters right away. I love Jonathan for the sequence, for what we get of him. Obviously I love Joyce. I love this stupid smock thing that she's wearing to go to work in. I just think it's really, really incredible. And I really like the sequence where Joyce calls to Mrs. Wheeler, because then we get to see Mrs. Wheeler again, and I've already established that this is like the best part of the show. And they talk about like where their kids are, and it that felt so well realized and well constructed as a sequence.
Yeah, David, you were alive during this time period.
That's right.
Do you have much memory of like the mid 80s?
The mid 80s, yes. Not November.
This is a little too early.
November 1983. The dendrites, they were just a coming, Tyler. I was doing well enough to have like soft palate tissue. So but the mid and late 80s I remember especially well, and there was this sort of just trust that existed for children that I don't think would maintain through to the 90s. I watched a lot of children's distrust form, and the kids aren't supposed to sneak out, but they do, and it's okay. So it's not like Will is instantly in trouble. Joyce just goes, "Oh, he probably stayed over here." Like it's considered to be a blanket, I trust my child what they are doing. It's funny that Marilee talked about this 80s, do you know where your child is? Because I think that's part of the start of what ruined all of this. And I think maybe really keenly what the Duffers were trying to call attention to was that the 80s weren't idyllic, But we had this thing where family units were structured around trust and belief that got eroded over time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Thanks, Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to be clear, like, I had a bicycle. I rode it around with my friends. We were terrorists. I never had one of these lights. We're selling all these children as, like, sort of economically those lights were fucking expensive.
The lights on the bikes?
Yeah. Because I'm sure they were, like, pedal operated and they had a little battery. Like, that's expensive.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And also made pedaling harder. I would just rather crash into something.
Just rub some dirt on it and then you're fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
The middle school. I love the set design of the middle school. The middle school set design is fantastic. It looks really good. I like these bullies. They are sort of central casting bullies, but that's fine. I don't even hate it. They're like...
It does what we need.
Not only does it know what it need, but they could just turn around and go be in a Stephen King movie.
Yeah, no, exactly. From here, I think that they were dropped off in Hawkins on their way to Maine.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but they're great.
Quick 15 minutes, and then they're like, "Yep, no, we gotta go get terrorized by a clown."
Hawkins, Derry, they sound similar enough.
We can't. The elephant in the room, of course, being that Mike plays Richie Tozer in the movie.
Right.
Yeah, true.
I do think really good of the script to pay attention to Gaten Matarazzo's natural occurring speech, to play into that, to work with it, to develop it. I do think that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, like, the writing in this is really sharp. Like, it's really well done.
Mm-hmm.
It communicates so much. It's doing some really heavy lifting because a pilot has to do so many things.
Yeah.
To be considered a successful pilot, and it's introducing, like, we're getting to know these characters. We're getting to know these characters through things that they do. So that we've got these actions. We're not just being told, like, this is what Mike is like. This is what the bullies are like. We're seeing it on screen. And I think that's really good.
Agreed.
And that becomes just like and especially in the beginning with Mike and Nancy, seeing their dynamics, learning so much about Nancy, learning so much about Mike, and the fact that they just have this strained relationship. Like, it's very good. It's anchoring so much. It's getting us to be on different sides and see different people's points of view. And we're only in, like, the first, like, 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah. Like, really deft writing in the pilot. And honestly, throughout the first episode, like, the first season, like, they thread a lot of needles, and the success rate is pretty high.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that for a queer experience, one way to get away from being bullied is to give in to your bully's demands. And we see that with Dustin's character. They're like, do the weird joint thing. And he does it. And they're like, ooh, that's always so freaky. And I think queer people watching the show may have had an experience where a bully would be like, well, sing or dance for me and I won't beat you up, or I'll stop harassing you. And just sort of accept that that's your lot. And that's part of, like, a system of recurring violence that homophobia builds.
Oh, man. David, you just made me realize that I used to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I used to get out of bullying by singing See My Vest from The Simpsons when I was in high school.
Is that a real true fact about David, or
That is a
are
real
we
true
making
fact.
it fun?
Nope, that is a real true fact.
Okay.
Were you wearing a vest at the time?
No, they just said sing something from The Simpsons, and it's the only thing I knew in full.
Wow.
Well,
Well, listen, I was wildly more successful than those people, so...
hell yeah,
and
you
that's
are.
what and more talented.
And, well,
No, I'm willing to believe that.
If one of those bullies had said you could use voice lessons, they would have been A, not wrong, and B, would have hurt me way more than the other things they were trying.
Well, that goes to show they didn't have the cleverness to hurt you in that way. And you could have done it. You could have been a better bully.
And you know what, Marilee? We were at school, so the library was open.
Yeah. Well, there you go. All right, so back to the show. Jim Hopper prepares for the day by drinking coffee on his deck, brushing his teeth, having a cigarette, sipping a beer. This would be hell yeah worthy if he wasn't also the Hawkins chief of police. When he finally gets into work, he's cranky, but listens to Joyce explain her concern about Will going missing. Hopper just doesn't worry about it, though, saying that this is Hawkins. nothing bad happens here. Still, he does start searching for Will, so there is that. Meanwhile, a girl with a shaved head shows up at a diner. She is caught by the diner's owner named Benny, but he takes care of her by offering her food instead. Eventually, the girl reveals that her name is 11. Benny calls social services, but Hawkins National Laboratory is listening in on the call.
Listen, I reject monogamy in all its forms, but I think it's time for Tyler and I to divvy up the two characters in the scenes. So who would you like to claim as your husband? Who am I left with here, Tyler?
I have to take Jim Hopper.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm smoking. Come on.
Yeah. David, I dressed as Hopper one Halloween.
Wow!
Okay, well, those are Halloween photos that we need for at least...
I'll talk to Maureen. We might have some photos somewhere in the archives, but I will have you know that was the night that I ate an edible brownie. Well, a brownie that was laced with THC. And I had my first experience of this edible ain't shit, and then come to regret it. Because I ate it thinking like, well, I'm bigger than my friend who also ate like a third or a half or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, and she's okay, so I'll obviously be fine. And then I see her walk away with her boyfriend at the time, and she looks like she's about to die. And then I was like, I gotta get home immediately right now. And then I made it home, and I was so stoned that I was still high in the morning when I woke up.
Yep. Wow. Okay.
All
while dressed as the sheriff.
Yeah.
I guess that's one of my biggest bummers is that Hopper is not a sheriff. He is the chief of police, that they have a system of police, and that we didn't just do this Barney Fife style, or I don't know why I said Barney Fife, Andy Griffin style. I was literally picking the wrong character. Why we didn't do this Andy Griffin style and make him a sheriff? Because Hawkins feels like it could be small enough to have a sheriff's office. And in the 80s, a sheriff's office operated very differently than a police station. Mm-hmm. And that would continue to be an issue throughout the 80s until the 90s. And then policing became, this massive affair, and cars ruined policing and blah, blah, blah.
Listen to the Gimmicks episode of X-Cops.
That's right. I forced you to listen to me talk about the fall of police.
Quick question. You say cars ruined policing. You don't mean the Pixar animated movie, right?
I mean...
No, Cops ruined police.
Television show. Police officers having access to vehicles and that being the primary way of doing their jobs ruined community policing the way that sheriff's offices were designed to. Which is why I think that Hopper would have been more interesting as a sheriff. All that to say...
but if he were a sheriff, then he wouldn't be chief of police as a reference to Chief of Police Matt Brody from Marilee's Favorite Jaws.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I could do anything. I'm chief of police.
Yeah.
Yep. And they dress kind of similar, but Hopper's got a great ass in those slacks, which is another reason why I chose him.
That's fair.
So
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's
fair. We've said a lot of things about Hopper. I just want to say ACAB does include him. So thank you.
We do have to say that ACAB. That does include Hopper.
Yeah.
And that's why, really, I just wanted David Harbour.
Yeah.
In the Hopper costume.
If you can divorce all of the modern things that we know about policing, it is interesting because I think all of Hopper's, I'm not really going to care about this missing child, all come from his capital T trauma. Like, Hopper is walking around with a gray cloud of I lost my daughter.
Yeah, it's true. You could,
you
could see it like the miasma floating around his head.
Nothing bad happens in Hawkins. Hopper, you literally are the most traumatized man in this city.
For real?
You have such my daughter died energy.
It's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I like his scene with Joyce. I will say that anytime David Harbour and Winona Ryder have come to work and are given lines that work for their characters, it is the height of the show and what it can be.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yeah. No, you don't get in this first episode any real concrete data or information about their past together, but you can tell immediately that they do have some kind of history, from the way that Joyce is saying things like, he's not like you, he's not like me, he's sensitive and stuff like that, and you immediately get oh, okay, so they did know each other as kids. Yeah. And sort of getting that little bit of lore stuff. I also just want to shout another line that she says like they have here, where when they're talking about how Joyce's ex-husband, Will's father, used to call him gay, and Hopper's like, well, is he? And she's like, he is missing is what he is. And I love Joyce for a lot of reasons. If it was still that one line was all that I have, I would still love Joyce.
Wow. Marilee, what you have just said is a very compelling reason for you to watch the final season.
I said that I would do it.
I'm sorry. If you liked this line read from Joyce, I feel like there are things in the final season. There are things you're not going to like, but I think that you should watch the final season.
I said that I would do it already. You already convinced me. Don't push your luck, because I will start to be like, actually, no, I won't.
Just because of that line. That's the only thing.
Okay.
Is each episode still like 2 hours?
Oh, it's the fucking worst. I don't know what to tell you.
Ugh.
Someone's got to... At one point in time, I paused this and I was like, oh, 30 minutes left. Oh my God. This was written like it could have aired on broadcast television.
If only it would have. God.
What a blessing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's meet Benny.
Mm-hmm.
Benny.
Oh, he's so great. I sure hope nothing bad happens to him.
Marilee, let me live in my moment. He has taken in a young person who needs help. He makes fries and burgers. He, who knows how long he's wearing this outfit. He has somehow a perfectly maintained beard.
He's bald.
He's bald. He has kindness in his eyes. But I could also
his
tell
voice.
I could tell that he would shout at you if you wanted him to, and it would be fun.
Oh yeah.
This is a good looking man.
It's a good looking
I
man.
forgot all about Benny. So when he showed up here in the pilot, I was like, hello, come to Papa. What a treat.
Love Benny though. And he's nice. He's a
so
nice guy.
He's so, and later scenes with him, I was like, God, this actor is like actually really good at giving this like empathic performance. Too bad he, spoiler alert, is about to get shot.
Yeah.
Okay. I do think one of the things the series wants to go for is like the government is there, they're listening, they're like one of the big bads. I like how this is shot because we get to see a lot of set decoration, which again looks really nice.
The show looks good.
The show looks good. I like them listening.
Great
in on
set
the calls.
design.
It's also a really nice transition of going from listening in on like the conversation that are happening in one place to take us into Joyce's POV again. It's just really clever storytelling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really well-written episode of television.
Yeah, it flows really nicely.
It definitely does.
All right, well, at the high school, Nancy talks about a boy she's seeing with her friend, the fan favorite, Barb. The boy, Steve, makes out with Nancy. Nancy is a high-achieving student, while Steve is more of a bad boy, but he genuinely seems to like her. At the middle school, the boys excitedly play with a new radio provided by their science teacher and talk about how much Will would love it. That's when Hopper arrives. He questions the kids, who talk about a place called the Mirkwood. Hopper, who seemingly has no idea how to talk to children, demands Mike to explain where Mirkwood is. Aside from being a location in Tolkien's Middle-earth, it is also the dark intersection of roads in the woods. When Hopper and the other cops investigate, they find Will's bike where he abandoned it. Hopper and the other folks in town search for Will in Mirkwood. Along the way, we discover that Hopper's daughter died at some point in his past, very tragically. I don't know why I'm laughing. Tragedy is not funny.
Are you sure? It's such a clunky...
Tragedy plus time.
Yeah.
She really died, y'all.
Yeah. Honestly, it's such a clunky line of dialogue that they've dropped in. Like, honestly, at this point, you're sort of, especially when you're first time you're watching the show, you're like, why is the science teacher here? Is he like supposed to be like suspicious in some way? Why the two of them have this conversation, and then as soon as Hopper walks away, this other woman appears from the ether and be like, oh yeah, his daughter's dead, by the way.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
We gave our flower.
Central casting, we need a middle-aged 80s looking woman.
Yeah. We gave our flowers, but I do think Marilee's right. This is a clunker of the script because you do need to be like, no, Hopper's got trauma. And again, I think you got that when he stepped onto his patio and like shivered and smoked a cigarette. Like Harper is giving enough in the performance that there's trauma behind the scenes. So this feels This is a little bit of Netflix to come of being like, they might have been looking at their phones when he shivered in the cold. So let's have somebody come and be like, he's traumatized. It's the worst.
Yeah. Well, I think it's specifically the whole, his daughter died, because he says earlier, oh yeah, my daughter's in the city with her mom.
Yeah.
To the scientist. So I think we're ragging on it. I think it is kind of an essential piece of information to know about Hopper, because until this point, we're just kind of like, he's an asshole, but he's definitely got something going on. This now confirms there was something going on.
Yeah.
But I agree, it is still like clunky, and I think it's the most like Hollywoodized this moment feels like. It just feels very like we have to do exposition here because the plot demands it. But God, before we get to the incredible David Harbour, who really I think deserved an Emmy for this season. Like future seasons, maybe more negotiable. This season in particular, really incredible stuff. But before we talk about David Harbour, we got to talk about Barb.
We got to talk about Barb.
Mm-hmm.
Barb. So we got Nancy, and Nancy's got her best friend Barb, who is just, she's got short red hair, she's wearing glasses, she's in kind of like a dowdy nerd outfit, and she just fell into everyone's hearts.
Why did Barb take off the way? I mean, obviously she tragically goes missing in an episode or two, maybe even just the next episode, and then we find out later that Barb didn't make it.
I think it's partially the tragedy of like exactly how she dies in a very painful way. I think it's also partially if Barb was in a movie, she would be the protagonist of the 80s movie. She's giving very Molly Ringwald sort of, you know?
That's true.
I think it was also just that she was kind of like a quiet-ish nerd, like really bookish, and like
she also has a crush on Nancy.
And she has a crush on Nancy, but I think a lot of people who are, this is 2016, so we're still kind of blogging. People were blogging a lot about popular media, and a lot of those bloggers could see themselves in Barb.
Like, oh, I'm Barb. Tyler.
I feel like
I was about to say redhead, glasses, bookish, has a crush on Nancy.
Has a crush on Nancy. I love Nancy.
I love Nancy. I do
obviously.
love Nancy.
My dad always said that about me, that I love Nancy's.
Yes, excellent.
But like still, either way, like Barb is like a really sympathetic character who would be a protagonist, and then she gets offed in this really horrible way, and then people felt personally attacked by that.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. I didn't want to see Barb die. Barb looked like me, as David just pointed out. And if I were in a gender swap situation, she could have been playing me.
Yeah.
So yes, it is sad. Justice for Barb became the rallying cry. And now that actress, I think, was doing Riverdale.
Mm-hmm.
After Stranger Things. Yes. She was in a couple episodes of Riverdale.
She showed up in the 100th episode. Let's talk about Nancy then.
Yeah, I love Nancy.
I love Nancy too.
I love Nancy.
I particularly love during this makeout scene. This is one of the things that I was like, oh my god, this show. Oh, I love how little makeup we put on these characters. Like, put on a realistic amount of makeup, but you can see that Nancy is a teenager. Sorry. They have put makeup on to make Nancy look like she has the right amount of makeup that a teenager would put on in the 80s, that she still has blemishes. They are present on her face. Those are probably added as part of the makeup process. It is just really well conceived. These are teenagers in a way that I don't feel like I get to see, because we perfectionize so many things in the high def world that we live in. But I think maybe part of this was the 80s. It's true for the kids too. Like Dustin's got it. Mike's got it. Will is barely in this episode. Lucas has got it. Like, they just do a really good job making these look like faces that actually exist on people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think like a big part of that was just because like these are young actors that no one knew at the time, and eventually the majority of them would shoot up to stardom, especially Millie Bobby Brown as 11. Mm-hmm. But they do, David's absolutely right. And I remember this was also huge praise for the show at the time. Was wow, all of these people look like people I would have known in 1983.
Right. Yeah. Right. And speaking of characters' aesthetics in the high school, it's so funny that they keep talking about Steve as this bad influence. And he is dressed like the preppiest prep to ever prep. I swear to God, it's so funny.
Steve is my biggest shock of season 1. I mean, and probably everyone, because he's sort of set up to be like the mean bully who's like jealous and stuff. And then his face turn is, you know, Bret Hart could never. Like it's an incredible hero moment for Steve.
Yeah.
And then Steve ends up being like fan favorite Steve later. Like
Yeah.
And
it's all just because the actor was so likable. They had changed it. He was apparently supposed to die when he has that hero turn. And then they just kept him around for perhaps better or worse.
Well, you know what? Steve, queer ally.
Yeah.
Truly.
Literally, canonically.
Yeah, Stevie's a lesbian and is like, lesbians rule. Not since Mark Blucas helped hang up the lesbian day sign in Buffy the Vampire Slayer have we seen such a great example of a straight man supporting queer women.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Love Steve.
Love
Yeah.
Steve.
For me, like he looks so preppy, but that to me is
it's
like
80s.
Red Flag City.
Oh, yeah.
Red Flag City.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
and it's very 80s to have
Yes.
like the rich like high school king look exactly like he looks like he's dressing from the same catalog as the main lead bully from the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
And all of that is intentional. Like all of that is like we are trying to remind people of the bully from Karate Kid and the person that you hated back in 1983.
If you were alive at that time.
Yeah.
If you were alive at that time. Like it's really good for that.
But like Marilee being like, I don't believe this to be a bad boy. It's like I put on Pump Up the Volume and I saw Christian Slater and I was like, oh, this is the alt bad guy. Like he's like a baddie who has like a deep personality. It's Christian Slater in when Pump Up the Volume, like late 80s, early 90s. Like he's at his most floppy hairedness. Like, I'm sorry. It's too much.
Yeah.
A flock or a swarm of eagles, David? A flock or a swarm?
It was really, you know, he had the more like, you've seen Pump Up the Volume, or maybe you haven't, but just
No.
You're familiar with Christian Slater.
Yes.
He had sort of that like almost helmet hair like thing, but it looked very soft. It looked like you could pet it, but somehow it wouldn't move.
And honestly, that's kind of the same vibe.
Hairspray.
That's what I'm saying.
Steve's hair.
Yes. Steve's not quite getting to a flock of anything. Later in Stranger Things, he will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait for season 2 for that.
Yes, closer to God, Steve. Closer to God.
I was just about to say that.
Closer to God.
Well, we got to get out of this bathroom with Steve and Nancy. We got to move on to at the Byers' home. Joyce and Jonathan are gripping with the situation when their phone rings. Joyce answers, but hears only Will breathing, followed by strange creeping noises. A shock of electricity shoots out of the receiver. Joyce is devastated, but relieved at the same time because she knows that her son is alive. With the curfew in place, Nancy and Mike can't leave their home. This, of course, doesn't stop Steve from showing up in Nancy's room, where he teases her. It kind of seems like a little bit like a bully, but ultimately accepts that she wants to prioritize school, so they engage in some flirting before getting back to work. Meanwhile, Mike radios Lucas and brings up D&D. Will took a risk and cast Fireball to save the party. They should do the same to help Will. Back at Benny's diner, Benny and Eleven are surprised by a knock on the door. A woman claiming to be from social services is there, but she shoots and kills Benny. No. So beautiful, my prince. Eleven escapes, and it is implied that she used some special ability to stop the bad guys who tried to capture her. We didn't mention it earlier, but she did stop a really noisy fan with her mind.
That's how I would use my telekinetic powers as well.
Yeah,
Just to stop things from being annoying.
Including these bad guys who try to get her, very annoying. So eventually a storm rolls in as the boys explore Mirkwood. In the rain, they come across Eleven looking dirty and scared, and the episode ends.
Great hook. I just got to say, I've been thinking a lot about hooks of television recently, and this is a great hook. It makes me want to watch the next episode.
Same.
Yeah.
Which is perfect because that was what Netflix was trying to do at the time. And like they're still trying to do. But now it's like, I don't know, the cuteness is rubbed off.
Agreed.
Yeah.
When it ends on an obvious hook, I'm just like, God damn it, these fucking people.
Yeah.
And I don't want to watch my shows that way anymore.
Well, a hook, I don't mind waiting a week for a hook to pay off, or a day for a hook to pay off, or whatever it is for a hook to pay off. And I think the problem is that I don't need to with this. I could just 5 seconds of credits and it's ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, 5 seconds of credits. We didn't talk about the opening credits. I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're
But
right.
criminal.
I even kept thinking to myself, gotta bring up the credits. I am so sorry.
Here we are at the end of the
Audience.
episode talking about the opening credits, but what fucking incredible credits.
Yeah, banger.
Truly.
I love that these never really change as the series goes on.
Well,
What if it ain't broke?
Yeah. It's like the X-Files opening credits. Once you have established something iconic, why would you possibly change it?
Why would you change it? Why would you change it?
Yep.
It's so simple and yet so good. It feels a little bit like Alias opening credits in that I could probably make it in Windows Movie Maker if I wanted to. But just a slow zoom out and then the zoom in, and this music, ooh, is it's doing a job.
A really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, people were clamoring for the soundtrack, an announcement on where's the soundtrack? I want to buy the soundtrack when the whole show completed, because people were obsessed with that intro. I remember I started getting into a lot more 80s music as a result of this, which was amazing. I got to listen to bands and songs I never really thought of before, like Enjoy the Silence. Like that was like the big reference to me, was like, if you like the music of Stranger Things, go listen to this song and then go listen to the rest of their discography.
Okay.
Because like,
speaking of music, this is a bit of a different turn, but in the latter part of this episode, just in this section, there are 2 needle drops that are so insane to me for no reason. I do not understand why they spent the money on the Jefferson Airplane White Rabbit for 2 seconds of the L fight, and then Toto kissed the rain in Africa for when Steve and Nancy are making out and studying. Just again, iconic songs, bangers. Why are we wasting the money? I think that I
think you just answered your own question, Marilee. They're iconic songs.
And I think they are so evocative of the time. And I think all the needle drops are so good at making you feel like the 80s. Like,
I think the Bless the Rains is a little better at that, because like I could see that like playing in the background, but White Rabbit is just, that's a needle drop for us, and I don't understand why you would waste the money for 30 seconds of that for no reason.
I mean, they're pouring money into this.
I think it gets reused later.
Okay.
If memory serves. Okay. I think it will get reused later. But it still kind of works for me, because like when I was talking to my mom, we were watching the show, and I'm just like, oh yeah, do you remember like this? Do you remember that? And she's like, oh yeah, we used to listen to like Jefferson Airplane still in the early 80s, because that was when like you were still listening to music from the 70s. Like that was that, like in the same way that we still listen to music from the 2000s and 2010s and the 90s and stuff, they were still listening to that, still part of popular culture. And then after this season is when I feel like we start to sink more deeply into we only listen to 80s top 10 hits. And then that becomes
a whole other thing.
That's when I'm more on your train here, Marilee, of like, why did we waste the money?
I again,
they raised my subscription for this.
It's truly like, were it not for the fact that it happened back to back, Bless the Rains, I would not be even getting a feature, because I do think I'm pretty sure 100% even that comes back when Barb gets missing, because the 2 of them are like having sex to that song. White Rabbit, I have a lot of questions about.
Listen, and I can't defend it, but Bless the Rains is a good makeout song. Like, it's
Africa, Africa by Toto.
It sucks that's true, because if you listen to that song, it is the worst song that has ever been written.
It's not good, but it is a banger.
But it somehow is romantic, and I can't, not even romantic. It's just like a good makeout. I don't know. I made out a lot to Armageddon playing on a VHS tape too, and for some reason that's a good movie to make out to.
Fair enough. I get it.
It's the Aerosmith.
Yeah,
it's the Aerosmith a little bit.
You don't want to close your eyes.
There's that hot,
you don't
there's
want
that
to fall
hot
asleep.
fat guy in it. Yeah,
there is the hot fat guy. That is also true. Yeah. Man, I gotta watch Armageddon again.
You've,
I've been in a mood to watch like horrible late 90s, early 2000s big blockbusters.
You knew it was horrible. I was about to push the pause, because when I became an adult and had adult money, one of the first things I did, Tyler, Marilee, is that I was like, you know what movie I bet really slapped and I didn't understand and fully appreciate because I was just a stupid child? An American Tail. And I rented that, and I was like, there are going to be deep political themes in this.
No.
That is not true. There are 2 mice and they sing, and that's it. There are no cats in America, and the streets are paved with cheese. Those are the only lines of that song. They just repeat over and over. I can't believe my parents let me watch this film.
Oh my god. So other things that happen in this section, obviously Justice for Betty, R.I.P.
R.I.P. baby girl.
R.I.P.
Yeah. And then one other thing I wanted to talk about, it's a blink and you miss it. Like they're not paying attention to it, but like in the scene where they're talking about the photos, they're making the "Have you seen me" flyer for Will. You can see that Jonathan is like hand printing the missing flyer that they're making for Will, and it's low-key so devastating, like the way that he's doing that, especially because like they're obviously gonna like photocopy it and put it up in places, but they didn't have the technology to like make something at the printer, so you have to like hand print that. I just was like, oh, that broke my heart.
I agree. I thought the whole scene,
another tragic
really nice.
part of the 80s.
Yeah.
Well, I also was sad when many died, but when one waifu leaves, another waifu arrives, and we've got Matthew Modine on my screen. I love him so much.
Can I just tell you, David, that like my mom and I used to watch Billy on the Street when Billy Eichner wasn't so annoying, or he was annoying in a more fun way. And he ran down this woman and said, "Miss for $1, name an actor." And this woman just goes, "Matthew Modine?" And Billy Eichner just goes, "Matthew Modine, and like keeps on going, like gets to the $1 but keeps going because it is such a random pull. But ever since then, anytime Stranger Things comes up, my mother just goes, "Matthew Modine."
Incredible.
A, incredible. B, I know we've said this before. I will say it again. Please be kinder to Billy Eichner because every role that he takes is one less that James Corden can have.
That's also fair. That's a very good point.
Here's the thing: is I don't really know where I know Matthew Modine from. Like, he's just
a nebulous element of the 80s, and that's kind of a thing.
That's what I'm saying.
With this show.
He's just kind of always been there, and so I think then you're like, we need to get somebody to play like the spooky bad doctor guy, and they're like, oh, let's get Matthew Modine. Like,
what's he doing?
Yeah.
What's he doing? He was in I think the Andromeda Strain. Like he's been some things.
I should rewatch that.
Did he do Red Dawn?
Was he in Red Dawn? Red Dawn that I'm thinking he did.
Because the show was very heavily inspired by like the whole Red Scare stuff, and
especially season 3.
MK Ultra, Bear the Way Merrily. I think the whole thing with White Rabbit being played is because we're gonna have some experimentation with psychedelics later in the season. So it's kind of like a nice way of kind of signaling like, oh, there's something mysterious about Hawkins National Lab. So I'm here to represent the money spent on music in this show.
Just to address the people yelling at their podcast device, he was neither in Red Dawn nor the Andromeda Strain.
Where can one find a Matthew Modine, David?
He's everywhere. That's the thing, is that he is everywhere, but he was not in those two things that we chose. I know that I also loved him in the 90s and early 2000s because he showed up in he was starting to get into his like daddy role. He screws Mary Louise Parker sideways on Weeds, and it is an incredible storyline between the two of them. And then he gets the very very good standalone West Wing episode with Allison Janney as like former high school sweethearts, in which he is like, I'm gay now, but I'll sleep with Allison Janney, which
that was a great episode.
What season was that?
Season 3. It's about her dad having Alzheimer's.
Why don't I remember that episode?
Standalone episode.
It was a standalone episode, so that it was like a means to help Allison Janney qualify to get an Emmy.
Yep. Okay, well, she deserves it, so that's fine.
Oh yeah, she deserved it. Like, that is neither here nor there, Merrily. It's just like that is what they were doing with that episode of The West Wing. And now I'm trying to see, what exactly do I know Matthew Modine from in the 80s?
I don't think you know it from everything.
Okay, he's in Full Metal Jacket, yeah, that's 80s. And then that's it. That's all he did in the 80s.
Yeah.
Very puzzling. Very puzzling. They'll end up eventually getting Sean Astin from the 80s, Paul Reiser from the 80s, and that was a huge meta thing because you were trying to decide whether or not you trusted Paul Reiser because he played a rat in Aliens.
Right.
And the list just goes on and on. We get a lot of like 80s actors get pulled into the show.
You're right though. Paul Reiser, Sean Astin was probably that's probably why season 2 rises to the top for me. If I had to pick a favorite season, is that casting Sean Astin as a man who works at Radio Shack.
That was real good.
Never been hotter. Just never been hotter.
Yeah.
So true. So true. Justice for Sean Astin's character. Yeah. Wish he hadn't also been eaten by demo dogs.
Okay, but I love that he got eaten by demo dogs. I think more men should get eaten so that women can have character development. It's praxis.
Sure, but not Sean Astin.
Not my new waifu.
I'm so sorry. There are too many characters in later seasons of Stranger Things that should have died. I understand. I love Sean Astin also. This is not a character that could this is good. They should have done that more.
Bob.
Bob.
Well, Gain, like we've certainly talked about the entire width and breadth of Stranger Things for an episode focused on the pilot episode. But I do have to ask, as we conclude this episode, how did we feel about the Stranger Things episode, The Vanishing of Will Byers, in terms of horror or queerness after our conversation? And do we have any other final thoughts for the episode?
Yeah, I got to mention it a little bit when we talked about it. Is it queer? But I do always read the science teacher as sort of a queer adult in these children's lives. I do think it is later sort of affirmed that he is in a heterosexual relationship, which is fine, whatever. But my read on queer characters doesn't depend on what they do. So I liked him. I like him keeping showing up. I like that he is a trustworthy adult in their lives, as queer people are.
Yeah. He's a good character. I liked him a lot. He also should have died.
Yes. I mean, he has tragic death written all over him.
Right?
He's a trust. He's the Hierophant. The Hierophant always dies. It's like Giles. Giles has to die. I'm sorry. He can come back, but he has to die.
Sure, David.
He's got to die.
Whatever you say, David.
The Hierophant has to die.
I love a treasure.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
He does.
Thank
He
you.
is the Hierophant.
Yeah, Mentor's got to die. I respect that. I think that this pilot is really good. I think that there was a lot of really good things about Stranger Things, and it's really refreshing. I know I said this at the top, but it is so nice to go back and see why this show became the phenomenon that it became. And it really is justified here in this, like, all of the seeds are there. But then there are also a lot of other seeds that get planted here in other places that go to consume the show in a way that's not great. I think that its reputation for later seasons as not being as good is also well-deserved.
Yeah.
But damn, this first episode, like lightning in a bottle, like really great stuff, excellent chemistry, really well put together. Just a delicious remix of things made into something delicious.
Yes. I think if you haven't checked out Stranger Things, we've actually not done much spoiling in this conversation, despite talking about the series. I think the only thing we spoiled is that people live too long, and well, you have modern medicine to thank for that.
Yeah, that's definitely what it was.
Also, this is neither here nor there. I heard Billy Bobby Brown doesn't really watch movies and is not interested in that, and she should really fix that. That is a personality default.
Yeah, you should
fault.
Watch movies.
Yeah, babe, you gotta practice, study the craft of others.
I'm sorry, apparently
not interested.
I watched Enola Holmes. You can watch a movie, babe.
Yeah.
I watched you be Sherlock's little sister, which was a bridge too far. There are 3 of those movies, my girl. You can watch The Godfather.
There's 3 Enola Holmes?
Yeah, one just came out a couple weeks ago. They will not stop advertising it to me because I'm a mystery person. I'm I'm so sorry, I don't care. I've never watched one of them and you can't make me.
Yeah. Call Me When the Sheep Detectives is available for streaming.
It is.
Real talk, yes.
Oh, is it? Oh, well, okay. Well, I'm not going to watch it right now. It is 3 a.m.
Oh, God. Go to bed, David.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Wait, we have to finish the episode.
So David can go to bed. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Now, you don't need a ham radio to find us. You can just follow us on Instagram, Blue Sky, and YouTube at Fear Coded Pod.
And if you would like to support the podcast, you can join the bats in our belfry and subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/fearcodedpodcast. You can show your appreciation at one of 3 levels. early and ad-free episodes. And listen, I know you all like the ads, but ad-free episodes are available at $1 a month, and there is accompanying bonus content at the $3 level. This month, we're discussing the first episode of Dan Da Dan. Dun 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 dun.
Love it.
Which also
it's like I'm
has
listening to the show right now.
also a show with a great opening credits and great music.
That's right. It does. And bananas.
Yeah, lots of those.
Yes. Well, Fear Coded is a proud part of the Glitterjaw Queer Podcast Collective. If you'd like to listen to more queer media podcasts, check out the full roster of shows at glitterjaw.com.
Join us next time when we continue back to Ghoul with the faculty. But for now, we will simply say goodbye.
Bye.
Now one pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small, and the one that mother gives you, they don't do.
I left second installment in there. Wait, is it our second installment?
It is our
This is
second
our second
installment.
episode,
Oh my
bud.
god, I'm sorry, I overthought this. Because we're not
I was like-
recording this weekend, so I was like, oh, I guess we finished Back to Ghoul. I'm so sorry.
It's
I am
literally
so
2
sorry.
episodes. Tyler's like fortnightly episode. 2 a month.
Give it to the corner.
And join us next time when we conclude. No,
When she was just a boy.
y'all, Tyler is so desperate to get rid of this theme. He is. Tyler hates this theme.